Brian, we'll go ahead and go back-to-back with the feature videos here. I know you got the NHL draft today, so you're kind of a little bit pressed for time, but I wanted to talk about the start of this Vegas doubleheader here on the PGA Tour. The Shriners Hospitals for Children open this week at TPC Summerlin. Next week, the CJ Cup at Shadow Creek, which I'm very much looking forward to. But this tournament here this week at TPC Summerlin, you and I were talking before we started recording here, this is the best field for this tournament in 32 years. Bryson DeChambeau, Webb Simpson, Patrick Cantlay, Colin Morikawa, Tony Finau, Matsuyama, Harris English, Matt Wolff, Scotty Scheffler, Jason Day, Ricky Fowler, Sergio Garcia, who won last week at the Sanderson Farms. Really, really good field this week, Brian.
And usually this tournament, I think the rub was they didn't come out here because it was a putting tournament. The winning scores in the low to mid-20s. I played TPC Summerlin a couple of times a year. I mean, these guys eat this course alive. But if they grew the rough and had some snarky pin placements, believe me, they could make the score a lot different than it is. But the quality players are showing up now, and we're seeing it. The FedEx Cup is a big deal, and these are full FedEx Cup point events, and the named players are showing up. And I think the angle, go to PGAtour.com. There's a really cool article in there about so many guys on the tour are now gravitating and living in Vegas. Xander Schauffele said, I'm moving there. Colin Morikawa lives right up the street here, or plays right up the street here, literally about 2,000 yards from where I'm doing this video. Kevin Na lives here. He's won this event twice. What does that tell you? He knows the course. So I think there's a starting point. You look at guys like that, and the price guy in there in that group is Aaron Wise, who is always, if you read this article, they're always playing games and working on their game. But Aaron Wise is a kid that can play, but he's here all the time. He's 80-1. We all know about Morikawa. Watch out for a guy like Aaron Wise to make a little run here.
Yeah, and I think it's the important thing. You know, you sort of look at the player profile for what you want to take in this tournament, and ball striking is very important, as it is week in and week out. As you said, the rough is not very penal here, so you can hit it a long way and go ahead and take whatever medicine you wind up with and be perfectly fine with doing it. The other part is that you got a guy like Kevin Na that did not play well in a lot of strokes gained areas last year, but he almost lapped the field in strokes gained putting. He made virtually every putt on this course, and a guy like him can do that. A guy like, a JT Poston can do that. We've seen guys like a Bo Hostler play well here. He doesn't do a whole lot of things well except hit the putter. So that's kind of what you're looking at here this week is, do you take the ball strikers at the short prices? Like I like Webb Simpson this week. I like Harris English this week. Or do you take the guys that are really good with the flat stick that have the longer prices?
There's no rough. And like I said, honestly, I played this course. And which is always fun to watch when you go, oh, I was there. I know what he's facing. That's kind of enjoyable. But the funny thing is, on certain holes, I have my moments on this course where these guys are so good as their distance control. And the real unique feature of these TPC layouts, every green are triple tier greens, but they are substantially different tiers. I mean, their distance control, they're always 15. The guy that win it, he's 8 feet to the pin. The other guy, if you're 25 feet, your percentages are obviously much different. But if you're not on the right level, there are 3 putts all over the place on this course. That's why these guys like this course up, because their distance control is so good. They're always on the right level. But at the end of the day, it's a putting tournament. This event is a putting tournament. So look at a guy like Matt Kuchar, who had a really quiet year. Out of nowhere, I think it's like a Sergio showing up last week. A higher-end guy, first win since the Masters, but kind of a higher-end name guy wins the Sanderson Farms. In the past, you weren't getting name guys like that in these tournaments. So you get a name guy like Kuchar showing up in this thing who's very much coming in here under the radar. But if he's putting good, he can get away with subpar ball striking. The other guy that is playing good that I thought was a nice overlay price was Cameron Davis, who played well at the Sanderson Farms.
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, looking at the BetMGM prices here, I like Webb Simpson at 12-1 among the short prices. He's as close to DeChambeau as we get in this field. Yeah, and in terms of ball striking and putting, he's right there with DeChambeau. So I think at 12-1, he's worth a look. Like I said, Harris English at 25-1. A guy some people may like is Patrick Cantlay. 2 runners up and a win here. So he's played very, very well. But again, there are some guys that are just great putters that are down the board here. Like a Poston at 80-1, Christopher Ventura at 80-1. He kind of fits the same mold as a Kevin Na type. The difference is Kevin Na, plays here all the time, as you mentioned, knows these putting surfaces really well. But you mentioned Aaron Wise at 80-1, Cameron Davis, a guy at 50-1. So I think you and I just have 2 schools of thought here. I'm kind of taking the shorter prices in the strong field, and you're looking at the guys that have bigger numbers that fit the profile.
I generally do that anyway.
Right.
And I'll come back and get a Webb Simpson on Friday night at maybe a higher price if he's 4 or 5 shots back. To me, when the course is set up for these guys to go low, the tougher courses separate the cream from the crop. This is the kind of tournament you should be searching for a bomb. And then you can find the name player at the same price on Friday night, or maybe even an overlaid price on Friday night. But to me, to sit there and play somebody at 15-1 when the winning score is going to be 23 under par, I personally think you're better off and better suited to swing for the fences and get a guy like that in contention, and then say, here's the name guy who's 4 shots back. And after Friday night, I'm separating the 10 or 12 really high-end name players, separate them out, that one of them is, within striking distance, and that's when you play those guys.
The last thing I would say here, and who knows, maybe he'll go out there and win this tournament, but a guy like Hideki Matsuyama, you can't take him in an event like this. Great ball striker, can't putt. So that's the biggest thing. If you're handicapping this golf tournament, make sure that you're getting, at least an above average to elite putter here, with the guys that you're backing. For the Shriners Hospitals for Children Open at TPC Summerlin.
You mentioned they're here again next week, too. That's probably another reason that this field was so big. I think the what is it? The 9 Bridges?
CJ Cup, yeah.
The CJ, but was that CJ Cup at 9 Bridges then? Is that what that was?
Yeah, over in South Korea?
Yeah, but I think the fact that there were tournaments here back-to-back weeks probably made a lot of these guys say, well, I don't want to miss 2 tournaments, but by the way, I can go play, settle in, and not have to travel somewhere. That they looked at the back-to-back week nature of this thing saying, that's pretty appealing, and I'm going to do it. And I think the fact that tournament's at Shadow Creek has mightily helped the quality of the field for this week, too.
Well, and then one last point here is just to say that guys that miss the cut this weekend probably aren't going to go home. They're probably just going to stay in their rental place or whatever they're doing, and they're probably going to take the weekend and go play Shadow Creek. So
I'm going to go to Shadow Creek and practice.
Right. So look for guys that, maybe really good players that missed the cut here this week. They're going to get some extra rounds next week at Shadow Creek for sure.
I like that one. That's a good angle. I like that a lot.
Well, I like to think we talk about a lot of good angles here on ATS Radio and on these highlight videos over on our ATS YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page and also subscribe to get ATS Radio wherever you stream and download your podcast content.